motherhood, and the transformation doesn't stop. Today, we're reconnecting with postpartum doula Harriet as she reflects on her first 12 months of motherhood, the shifts, the struggles, and what she's still figuring out. Welcome back to Damn Parenting. I'm Eva, and I'm so glad you found a moment to join me. Whether you're pushing a stroller, stealing a quiet moment in the bathroom, or tuning in on your commute, you're not just listening. You're part of a growing community of international families right here in the Netherlands, figuring this out together. Today, we're checking back in with Harriet, first-time mom and postpartum doula. Many of you might know from Instagram as harriet.nourishandnest, someone who's been generously sharing her journey with us over the past year. First at 3 months postpartum, then 6, and now she's going to reflect on her first full year of motherhood. From shifting identities to unexpected challenges, this conversation is an honest look of what's changed, what's stayed hard, and how her experience has continued to evolve. Along the way, we'll touch on matrescence, that often overlooked transformation that happens when you become a mother. But really, this is about the real ongoing journey of figuring it all out, one day at a time. This conversation is honest and full of those deep breath moments where you think, okay, it's not just me. We're talking about what's changed, what's hard, what surprised her, and why even as a doula, nothing could fully prepare her for this transformation. So grab your tea or just your earbuds and take this time for you. You deserve it. So let's get into it. Hi, Harriet.
Hi, Eva. So nice to be back again.
I know, so nice to have you back. I just want everyone to know I actually listened back to the previous episodes. We had Harriet on. So that's episode 15, the postpartum doula, the doula map for the first 6 weeks. And then it was episode 50, 3 months check-in, and 64, the 6 months check-in. So if anyone is starting off here, maybe you want to go back and listen into those as well, just to get into it. And I took notes. So I did remind Harriet that
Oh
I did.
dear.
So it'll be interesting to see if there's any changes with some of the questions or topics we might bring up here in this conversation. So first off, how are you and how is the baby?
I am well. We're now 14 months postpartum, so we've passed the year check mark, which is amazing. I honestly can't believe how different I feel passing the 12-month mark. So yeah, I am feeling good. My baby, who's not really a baby anymore, he's that in between, not quite baby, not quite toddler, full on chaos all the time stage. Where, he just wants to explore everything, which is very sweet. But then in reality, that means all he does is climb up to my kitchen cabinets and pull everything out and throw it on the floor. So I spend my whole day picking up bowls and lunch boxes and whatever else he decided he wanted to play with.
I mean, who needs toys?
Literally, who needs toys? Honestly, the most play we've gotten out of one item is like a pack of tissues, a plastic pack of tissues, because he just like shakes them and he loves it. So you don't need toys.
I mean, seriously, there's always questions about what do I need to get for my baby? And it's like, honestly, you probably got everything in the house that they're going to be entertained by.
Yeah. Toilet rolls, cardboard boxes.
Oh, the
They're
cardboard
simple.
boxes. Yes.
Yeah, that's a fun thing. I like to play with the cardboard box.
Let's hit it off with this question. What has shifted in how you see yourself now?
Oh, that's a great question. Like I just said, I feel very different than I did a couple months ago. And I hear a lot of people talk about like I lost myself to motherhood. And that's not necessarily something that I agree with. I don't feel like I lost myself. I feel like I maybe went inside myself in a different way. Like you become more insular because particularly in the very early months, all your focus is on within your household and within your little family unit. And so much of your brain is going towards nap schedules, feeding baby, feeding yourself, keeping up with the basic household chores, trying to find time to have like a conversation with your husband or that kind of stuff. And then you get past 3 months and you're still mostly focused inside your house, inside your little home unit. And for me, that I didn't even really realize it was happening. And then just something shifted when I passed 12 months. And all of a sudden, I feel much more interested in getting out and about. It also helps that now we're coming into spring and the weather's changed. That's a huge factor, I think. But I'm feeling more energy and feeling like I want to, yeah, get out and about. I want to meet other mums, make new friends, set up play dates, and just get back into the world a little bit more.
That's quite a lot, but I do think the season really does have an impact as
It
well.
has a huge impact, yeah. Especially here in Amsterdam. I mean, obviously the weather's still completely unpredictable 12 months of the year, but we've got so much outside play space, so many playgrounds and stuff that are just sort of off limits. December, January, most of February. So we've really been enjoying recently getting out and about and exploring our neighborhood and seeing it through the eyes of like a child rather than adults, and looking for playgrounds and ducks. Actually, we spend a lot of time walking around looking for ducks.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of them out there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just going back here to the notes, and I just wanted to see, with relation to that, one of the things you discussed was the emotional highs and lows of motherhood and stressing the importance of acknowledging and processing these emotions rather than suppressing them. How is that now that you're after a year?
I guess it sort of mellows a bit the beginning, the first months going into the first, towards the end of the first year. There's so much up and down, so much unpredictability, and your hormones are just going absolutely crazy. So it's just like a wild ride to be on. And now I definitely feel a bit more grounded and settled. Although, having said that, I sort of have stopped breastfeeding in the last couple of weeks, although we seem to have started again, which is fine. But then that's like a whole new, that sent my hormones again into, I've been feeling really weird the last week or so. And then I was talking to someone on Instagram and they asked if I was still breastfeeding. And I was like, no, maybe this is the key. It's crazy what your body goes through and you don't even realize it. Even though I was feeling all these symptoms like mood swings, physically a bit fluey, tired, just everything felt a bit like sore and inflamed. I never would have put that together with finishing breastfeeding until someone else pointed it out to me. So even though I do feel a lot more like on solid ground, there are still these little things that are going to get you when when you're least expecting it.
Actually, it reminds me of something you did mention in the 3 month postpartum check in. You actually said, "Yep, I don't know how long I'm going to like breastfeed for, and I'm just going to take it day by day." And I remember just thinking, like, wow, it was the way you were just so confident and just saying, "I'm going to listen to my body." And the fact that it's like we stopped, but now we've gone back. It's so nice to hear. It's a nice thing that it's a case of you're listening to your child and to your body and saying, "What am
Yeah.
I capable of?"
Yeah, exactly. Best way for me to achieve something, like I don't do well under pressure. I'm not good in like pressure, stressful situations. That's why I've never had a corporate job. I've always had like a nice, although being self-employed obviously comes with its own stresses, but high pressure is not for me. So I knew going into this, putting pressure on myself to breastfeed was just not gonna end up with good results for me. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm just gonna completely let go of this, and what will be, which maybe sounds easier said than done, but just worked really well for me. And I never had a goal to still be breastfeeding at a year. It just happened really naturally. And then a couple of weeks ago, it seemed like my baby wasn't really interested. We've been like slowly, filtering it out. Formula has been taken over breastfeeding. And then a couple of weeks ago, it just seemed like he wasn't interested anymore. So I was like, okay, this is it. This is the moment. This is going to be the last feed. And
Did you
then,
cry? Can I ask?
no, no, but only because his vaccines are in 2 weeks. His 12-month vaccine hit him really hard and he wanted to be latched all day long. So I was like, I feel like it's going to be the same thing. So I was kind of thinking like, this isn't quite my last one. I'm going to save it for that. And then that will be the last one. And I can have this like reflective moment. But anyway, my baby's changed his mind. He's got his molars coming through. So of course he wants to like nurse and feed more often. So the last 2 or 3 days we've been doing a feed before bed, which has been quite nice. I've enjoyed it. It's nice to have those cuddles.
I know, as much as they say the days are long, but the years are fast. And it's just that, especially with breastfeeding, it's like my body's not my own and not like I'm on call. When it finishes, it's like, wow. And then
Yeah.
you can look at the child, go, I did that.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the
that
crazy
was
thing.
me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but it's so different at the beginning. You're breastfeeding like what every 2 or 3 hours, 24 hours a day, and it's just exhausting. And then someone did say to me, like, once you get, I think, past the 3 month mark, it does get easier. And I do remember that one point just being a jump, being like, okay, instead of it being every 2 hours and feeling like it was really consuming my whole day, you're down to every 4 or 5 hours or whatever. I can't remember now. And you feel like, oh my God, freedom. I've got more freedom. And then at 6 months, it drops again. And it's like a slow and steady process of sort of getting your body back. And we are only down to one feed a day. So then it's easier to enjoy it when you know it's just the one. It's easier to lead into it and, yeah, appreciate those moments.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's also bittersweet sometimes when it gets to that end. So
Yeah, yeah.
you did mention about who you were and how you see yourself. I just want to know, what do you think about that concept of going back to who you were? Or, okay, the face said it all.
Yeah, sorry. If you're listening, you can't see my face, but the face said it all. I think that's such a stupid concept. How can you go through like one of the biggest changes of your life? Why do you want to go back to the person? This is the point of life, is that we're always growing and evolving and learning and changing. Like with every passing year, we experience more. And when you become a parent, you experience this huge leap, this huge growth, and it does change you. And it's hard now to articulate exactly how I can't pinpoint how it's changed me, but you do feel different and more confident, and I'm more satisfied with like a slower pace of life, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, why would I want to go back? What's the point of going back? Like those times are gone.
You're accepting where you are. And I mean, you just said like you can't pinpoint what it is that's changed, but that in essence is Matrescence. And I think Elena
Exactly.
like said there's like 36 different elements of every single aspect.
Yeah.
So you can never pinpoint it because it's every molecule of your body is now changed, I guess.
Yeah, and your brain has like rewired itself, and your relationship with your partner has shifted, and your relationship with your body has shifted, and other people around you. And you get, in my experience, like most of my friends don't have children. So some friends I've become closer to, and some friends I've drifted from a little bit, but I think it will come back later. Just everything shifts slightly, but every single part of your life shifts slightly, and that all adds up to a big change. And I think that's really amazing, and you have to embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of embracing the every aspect of it, there's now, as you said, your baby's changed. He's now over the 1 year mark. How's the invisible work of parenting evolved for you coming out of that first year?
Yeah, so yeah, difficult. Difficult's a big word, but the challenge is my husband obviously he had his paternity leave, so he was at home. He only worked part-time. He's gone back to the office full-time, and he doesn't have a job that he can work from home. So he's in the office 5 days a week. And I'm obviously self-employed. So that comes with a bit of extra mental labor, because you're always having to market yourself, and you're always having to look for new clients, and you're always having to think about all of the administrative tasks. So those two things, plus trying to keep our house organized when you have this baby slash toddler who all they want to do is throw toys everywhere. And they don't like it when you go and clean up, because they want you to pay attention to them all the time. It's been quite tiring, I would say. But I think you just have to learn, or for me, just let some bits go. That's what me and my husband are always saying to each other. You know, the most annoying thing is that our apartment doesn't have a dishwasher. So like we have to do everything by hand. And we're always like, imagine how much tidier our house would be if we had a dishwasher. Anyway, that's a tangent.
Don't worry,
Um,
it doesn't help, to be honest.
Okay, good to know. We'll always be like, so what if there's dishes on the side? Okay, so our drying rack never gets put away. Like, yes, it's annoying. Yes, I would love to have like one of these perfect Instagram homes where everything is organized and neat and clean all the time. But it's not like when we're 80, when we think about these days, we're not going to be thinking like, oh, if only I'd folded the laundry sooner. If only I'd put the dishes away quicker. We're going to be looking back and remembering all of the amazing times that we have with our baby because, like you say, it goes in an absolute flash. Like they say, there's some balls that you can drop and some balls that you can't drop. So I just try to let go of the things that don't really matter and focus on the important things. And if I have a busy week work-wise, yeah, the house is going to be messier. What are you going to do?
So you're actually just reiterating something you said in one of the previous episodes where you were actually talking about the importance of releasing the pursuit of perfection. And you had admitted back then that you found peace in accepting that mistakes are going to be part of the process of learning and that it's not going to be, as you say, like the Instagram house.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear you're still on that.
It's also because I'm just a little bit lazy. So I'm like, I'd rather sit down than clean. Some people really like to be busy. Like my mum, it doesn't really sit down. She likes to be doing stuff all the time. Not that she's cleaning. She has a million hobbies, but I quite like to sit and have that time to drink my tea and eat my snack. So that's what I'm going to prioritize. Spending time with my child, taking care of myself. And then if the house is a bit messier than I would like it to be, so what?
And that actually touches on another aspect you had spoken about was redefining self-care and the fact that you're realizing taking time for yourself, it's not indulgent, but essential for your well-being and the ability to care for your child. It's just refreshing that it's a case of you learned it so early on and that you're able to continue that and you know the importance of it. And you said the word lazy. Honestly, that can be a huge trigger for many of us to give guilt and shame.
Yeah.
But the reality is a case of your body needs to reset. Your body needs to find its grounding again. So therefore, it's not a lazy thing. It's actually doing something, as you say, for the good of you and for the good of your child.
Exactly. I call myself lazy, but I don't know if I really believe in the concept of lazy because there's just things you don't want to do. You're not lazy because you don't want to wash the dishes. You just don't want to wash the dishes because you don't like it. And that's okay. Or rather, taking that time for myself to sit down is also productive. That's also a useful way to spend my time because, like you say, that's promoting my own well-being. And when I am feeling good and I'm feeling better, I'm going to show up the best for my child. And that's what's going to shape him. And as he grows, those are the values that I want to instill in him.
And speaking of that, what role is your partner playing in this stage as well of the whole mental load and emotional labor? Because as you said, he's out of the house 5 days a week. And so how are you managing with that?
When I'm home more often, so when I'm home, I'm taking responsibility for the house. But when we're both home, it's 50-50. Then things are split and we work towards our strengths. So for example, I really like to go to bed early and he gets like a weird burst of energy at like 9 p.m., which I don't understand. So I will go to bed and then he will do a round of housework before he comes to bed. Wow. It's great. Yeah, I know. He's very clean.
That's actually kind of like my dream is that you can have a fairy come in and you're putting your child to bed. And when you come out, the dishes are done. It's been hoovered and the ironing's been, I mean, wow. Does he do house calls?
I'll connect you guys later.
Thank you. It's great to hear that you have that support system. One of the other elements we did discuss in previous ones was talking about the support systems and community. So what support has made the biggest difference in the past year to you as a mom?
That is a big question. What support has made the biggest difference? I think it's being able to have people in your network that you can send a WhatsApp message to and be like, this is hard. I'm having a bad day. And them to be like, yep, I feel you. I know. For me, that's all I need to stop myself from getting sucked into, I'm having a bad day, therefore there's something wrong with me because I can't manage parenthood and everybody else makes it look easier because we go on social media and of course everybody's sharing their highlight reel and we only see the nice things. It's so easy to get sucked into that mentality, but having parents around you that you can text and just be like, this is really hard today, and have them be like, yep, I've been there. And I think we talked in an earlier episode about the importance of having friends with kids at the same age as yours. But one of my very best friends, she's my only friend with a child, and her daughter is 18 months older than my son. And that has been amazing when I'm like, I'm having a bad day, send me videos of your toddler. And she'll send me like pictures and videos, and they're out and about and doing things. And it's a bit like having the light at the end of the tunnel that I could be like, okay, in 18 months, this is what our life will sort of resemble. These are the things we'll be able to do. And having her text me all of the sweet, rewarding moments with her toddler helps me keep going.
Love that.
Yeah.
Because in my head, if someone like my friends have much older kids, and all I can think about is, I don't want to be sent the texts of the teenagers. Like, don't send me those videos.
Yeah,
So,
I think like you need someone with kids like just 1 year older. Because then too far, then you're like, I can't imagine that. But if it's just 1 year's difference, you can sort of envisage yourself at that stage, which has been great.
I can imagine it's not easy for some people, though, kind of going, that doesn't help me right now. So, I mean, it's great that it works for you. But I think for me, I would just be like, don't ever do that to me again. Because you were already in the community, you were a postpartum doula, so you already had the connections to all doulas and those people who were there to support pregnancy, birthing, and postpartum. So you already had quite an established knowledge of people. So what was the difference with the community you've built for yourself now as a mom?
So this is something that I've been going through in the last couple of weeks, because like I said, I'm feeling this urge to get out the house a bit and build a local community, because I'm out in Nord. So most people that I talk to live in the city, particularly like everyone seems to live in Bos and Loma and keep making friends. And I'm like, that's an hour from my house. You're no use to me. I'm like, okay, I need some local mum friends. So I've been on the Peanut app, which my friends without kids thought this was hilarious because I said it was Tinder for mums, and they were like desperate to have a play on there. So I've been there and I've been connecting with other mums who live nearby me, that I can just be like, oh, I think we're going to do this today. Do you fancy joining us? And they can just hop along, and it's really easy and low key. And that has been so, so nice, because I'm so used to trekking into the city. So for me, this has been such a game changer to have people in your neighborhood that you can just text plans, and it really helps. Now we are down to one nap. This is a whole new ball game now. Now we can do things. Our whole life doesn't revolve around wake windows and sleep schedules. Oh, it's amazing.
It really does make an impact, that one switch over. And it's so magnificent, but also so challenging, because I remember I was struggling to accept that there was no two naps as well. And it was very hard to read the child. You don't want this nap because you now only need one.
Yeah. Yeah. But with the two, it's such flexibility day by day. So you can't really make solid plans, because you're like, oh, he could be awake at this time, but I'm not sure. And now you're down to one. It becomes so much more like regular and regimented. So I can say with like quite some certainty when he's going to be asleep, when he's going to be awake. We can make plans around it. And that is so different to those early days when they have those hour-long wake windows, and it feels like you spend all day putting them to bed or getting them up from bed. And then you're also trying to breastfeed in between that. It's impossible to get anything done. So this is really nice.
It's a full-time job, basically.
For real. Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to also touch upon was when we first did episode 15, it was the postpartum doula. You were pregnant yourself then at the time. So we were talking about what to expect in those first 6 weeks. We have spoken about a couple of things in the 3 and 6 month check-in, but now after a year, what was things that you didn't expect, even though you had your experience as postpartum doula? Was there anything that really surprised you, shocked you, or kind of made you more aware? And that's could be humbling, could be also a great learning experience, and something you want to shout out from the top of the rooftops for everyone.
Well, the one thing that surprised me, that I always say this when people are like, what surprised you, is everybody tells you when you're breastfeeding, if you're doing it correctly, it doesn't hurt. And that is not true. The first few days really, really hurt. And it's not because you're doing something wrong. Your body's just got to adapt. But that's what you see all over social media. That's what everybody says. If there's pain, then the latch is incorrect. So I was not really expecting pain. And it really, really hurts. But just for 24 to 48 hours. It's not like it's long term or anything. But those couple of days really took me by surprise. I was like, you told me it wasn't supposed to hurt. but it does. So that's the first one that comes to mind. And there's lots of benefits to having worked with new mums and babies and young children in terms of being prepared. But then the double-edged sword of it is we quite quickly fall into this comparison trap with other kids. And I found myself, not necessarily in a negative way, but being like, so this child that I knew by X months was sleeping like this. So that's kind of, I guess, what will happen. And then, of course, your child does something completely different because they are not alike. Like, no two children are going to follow the same trajectory, particularly in those first 12 months. Yeah, there were lots of assumptions that I kind of had in my head, actually, mostly in terms of sleep, that did not ring true. But that's okay because my baby is my baby and he's going to do his own thing.
Exactly. It's just like you say, it's for their whole life. We're all going to be different. Thankfully, God knows we could not live all with one person in this world. The world is already
Exactly.
tough enough as it's going right now. So let's,
Yeah, my God. Yeah.
versatility is what's going to bring our strength.
Yeah.
So we've kind of accumulated there a lot. I've highlighted a couple of things that we didn't really touch on. So one of the things was, do you want to speak about anything you're hopeful or nervous about entering into this toddlerhood phase because
Oh
you're
my
in the
gosh.
cusp?
Yes. My sweet boy, he is a Pisces. And those little babies, they've got a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings. And he's very happy, smiley. But when he's upset, boy, is he upset. Boy, oh boy. So I'm like, this child is a 2-year-old. I really think is going to give us a run for our money. I think that me and my husband need to already be doing the groundwork of like practicing keeping ourselves calm, working on that and communicating with each other. Because I mean, we can both be a bit feisty. It's not a surprise where he gets it from. Um, so that makes me nervous. But at the same time, I always say toddlers are just absolute magic. They are amazing. I'm so excited for the walking and the talking. And when you're a toddler, absolutely everything is new and everything is amazing. And every experience is for the first time. And when you're around them, you get to experience it through their eyes. And I just think it's such a beautiful time of life. And I thought it was already beautiful experiencing it with other people's children. So I think going through it with my own child is going to be just amazing. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Sounds amazing. Toddlerhood is a real whole different world, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you had to reshuffle anything coming into the next phase?
I only am working 3 days a week, which is a bit tricky to manage everything in that time and, financially get enough coming in. That's another point about going back to the conversation we had before about role sharing with my husband. We are following this much more traditional dynamic at the moment because he has a full-time job. So he is financially contributing more and I'm physically and mentally contributing more, which works fine for us. We're both quite happy with that arrangement, but that's how we've split things. So I only have my 3 days, which is quite good for keeping a balance because I'm at home then 4 days a week. Trying to do that maths really quickly in my head because I'm at home 4 days a week. So that still gives me plenty of time to focus on keeping household stuff going.
And what does your self-care and then balance really look like for you?
Well, it's been a bit difficult the last month because I have been really busy with work. And I also, obviously, if I'm doing paid work, I can't be at home. It's out in somebody else's home. And I'm someone who really appreciates like alone time and quiet. Something that I think I'm going to work on moving forward is I'm thinking maybe I need the Monday mornings to be sort of ring fenced as my breathing moment after the weekend that's all busy and hectic and wonderful and fun. I need that bit of breathing space on a Monday morning to reset and get my brain back into work mode. So I think maybe I will try and stop scheduling people for a Monday morning start at lunchtime or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
That actually sounds like everyone could do with something like that. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, yeah, that sounds like a really good
Yeah,
idea. Maybe
exactly.
I should do that.
Yeah, that can be my admin moment, which means I can be at home by myself, which always makes me happy.
Girl, you're preaching to the choir here. Well, thank you so much for joining us again because it's really helpful, I hope, for anyone listening. As I said, there's the 3 month, 6 month, and now the 1 year check in. The fact that Harriet is known here as a postpartum doula as well, she's got the experience, and the fact that you've been very open and vulnerable and honest and providing your own insights. It's helpful because it's also, even listening back, my child is obviously a lot older, but even listening back, yeah, I kind of had that. And yeah, I'm not alone. Like everyone else has some different story, but some of them are similarities. As we said, not everyone can be the same.
Exactly. And that's why I think it's so powerful to all share our honest experience of how things are, because it's not a competition. It doesn't matter if one child sleeps better or if you're finding something harder or easier than somebody else. We're all just muddling our way through. And it always helps to hear other people's stories.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. That's it for today's episode. And what a gift it is to hear Harriet again and 1 year into her journey of motherhood. So, her honesty and vulnerability, as I said, with her insights as both a mother and a postpartum doula, really remind us that there's no single way this year should look, and that the change, identity, and healing unfold in their own time. So, whether you're the first few weeks in or a year out or just curious about what's to come, I hope this conversation gave you a sense of solidarity and maybe even a little sigh of relief. You're not alone in this. We're all figuring this out as we go. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to share it with a fellow parent who might need to hear it too. And of course, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on what's coming up next. Until then, take care of yourself and talk soon.